Hello, everyone. We're back with Ken Dombrowski, executive life coach and master hypnotist. And I want to talk about empathy and how the digital age is kind of affecting empathy and how most of us don't really have it anymore.
Well, I would want to start that conversation a little bit before the digital age. When I was a small child, which is a really long time ago, it was said amongst the adults that watching cartoons, which were filled with violence, was going to create a violent generation. And of course, I don't believe that our generation, I was Generation X, I don't think that we were any more violent than previous generations, probably even less so, simply because of evolving civilization. Basically, that's a societal expectation. And then as it continues to go beyond that, then violence in cartoons, violence in TV shows, then violent video games. Well, that really seemed to make a big difference. Was video games, now you're participating in the violence in the game, not just watching it. So then that desensitizes a person to what violence is. So, for example, if you shoot someone, well, most people have never been shot. I've never been shot. Have you ever been shot?
I have not.
No, most people won't be shot in their lifetime. So you don't have any idea what it feels like. You can imagine it probably doesn't feel good. I think that's easy. But how does it really feel? Not just the wound itself, but the emotional charge that comes with it. Like, holy shit, I can't believe someone shot me. You'd feel there'd be a whole lot of emotions that go along with that. So then we can keep on moving it forward into social media age, digital age. Absolutely desensitizing all over the place because we're scrolling so quickly. Dopamine used to last for minutes and even hours. Now it lasts for a second. We're down to basically 1 second of dopamine every time you get a dopamine hit, especially on social media stuff. So that's all you're getting. So that's why you have to keep going for more and more and more and more. It's called an addiction. Well, you're also desensitizing your dopamine receptors. What can cause a dopamine? So now you can find yourself having, at a party or having a nice time with someone, and you're just not feeling it. And that's because your dopamine burned out. You've gone numb. It doesn't matter. Nothing really affects you anymore. You want dopamine? You have to keep on stepping up that game to something more and more and more exciting. So now let's go ahead and do another history lesson. Let's go back to at least 100 years ago. People got dopamine from doing a hard day's labor on the farm. Really, sincerely. They had dopamine like sustained throughout the day. They had endorphins sustained throughout the day, not spikes like up and down. It was more sustainable. And they didn't call it fun or happy. This was just life. They got enjoyment and fulfillment out of what they did. Today, that's lacking huge. People are not finding enjoyment and fulfillment in what they do in their life. Instead, they're just focusing on lack. They're focusing on how they just don't feel it.
I think that's it really is to say that desensitization is happening mainly extra fast due to the digital age and technology and social media and things like TikTok and the fact that 6-second videos are like the most popular thing on the planet right now. And that's like how it kind of ties into empathy is like you're just not feeling anything long enough to truly care. That's the basis of it, regardless of if that's like, happiness or empathy or pain, whatever. We're not feeling anything long term. And that's kind of where the issue is coming in. And also people think just because they watch a video and they're like, that sucks, that they're feeling empathy. And it's just not true. There's really not as much as people believe behind the things that they're feeling when they're on social media. And then that translates to life because people are on their phones just as much as they're communicating, if not more than they're communicating with outside sources and people in the real world. So it just kind of desensitizes the idea that we have true emotional connections to other human beings.
Well, I really like how you used empathy in there. That's really key. Can kind of largely look at there's two types of empathetic people that we notice more often. There's going to be a variety of empathy, but these are kind of two main ones. One is going to be just as you said. The person who just says, that sucks, and they keep on going, and they really don't have any feel behind it. I actually remember just on Facebook, I've seen a couple times, I wish cancer didn't exist. Give me a like if you agree. Well, that's ridiculous. Of course, no one wants cancer to exist. No decent person does. But what are you actually doing? Are you actually expressing empathy, concern, care? Are you actually doing something to try to help cancer victims? No. All you're doing is throwing out. It takes you 3 seconds to throw up this post, and then you feel good about yourself, like you've done something, like you're some kind of a hero. No, you're not. So it's very false. It's more arrogant, egocentric driven. Then you're going to have the other type of empathetic person who they just seem to be sad and down all the time because they have so much bleeding heart empathy for everything going on in the world. Oh, and if they're going to sit down, they're going to cry a lot. It's going to be all their entire identity is how sad they always are, and nobody wants to be around them. And then they get mad at the people around them. Well, you just don't have empathy. Well, no, I have tremendous amount of empathy. Doesn't mean I'm going to have to sit down and cry over everything that I don't like to hear.
Right.
Everything I don't like, everything I don't agree with. I'm not going to sit down and cry. That's not empathy. That's something else entirely. That's an insecurity. Those are fears. That's someone's their habit of how they deal with life is through sadness. It's got nothing, 0.0 to do with actual empathy.
And I just want to reiterate, we're not saying that people never experience these emotions. We're just saying that they're so fleeting that they're not really grounded in any long-term sense of really feeling something. It's all just kind of fleeting, you know? There's nothing truly sustainable behind the things that we feel. Like, what are you saying? Like, okay, you posted about how you hate cancer. That feels more like an attention grab to me and a like grab more than anything else, because I know exactly what you're talking about. Or the people who see someone put up a GoFundMe and they share it, but they didn't donate to it. You know, like, you feel better because you did something, but you didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. It's just like choosing to feel good about very menial things. And that's part of the problem. It's like, same thing, like on social media, you see all the time, one video, there's a group of people being empathetic and they're super sorry about something someone's going through, and then the next video they watch, they disagree with that person, so they're no longer empathetic and now they're attacking them. You know what I mean? It's very easy for that switch to flip, especially when this day and age, if you don't exactly directly agree with someone, now they're just an asshole. And that's part of the problem is, like, there's just such a disconnect between humans, and there's no room for disagreement or anything like that. Everything is just, like, problematic and fleeting.
It's definitely a great way to put it all. I always like your perspective on stuff because it's in alignment with mine, but it's also it's different,
right?
Because of age differences and experience differences. So that was I just learned a whole bunch right there. Thank you.
You're welcome. I just think, like, it's nice because obviously I skew younger, and because of my generation, I spend more time on social media. I'm not denying that whatsoever. And obviously my algorithm is completely different than his algorithm. And it does show you a lot. Like, I feel like for me, it's more research purposes and the fact that I can kind of see the misgivings in situations because of that. But I know most people, when they're commenting, I'm like, oh my God, someone felt the need to say this online. I've never commented on a single TikTok. I've never commented on anything because, like, what is it actually contributing to society? Usually more hate. And that's about it. And I just don't feel it's necessary to partake in something like that. And I think we'd be a lot better if comments weren't allowed on things.
You know, to post something, if you want to just post something positive and you know, something about your life or something you experienced, that should be okay. But you do always run the risk of somebody crapping all over it for whatever reason. You know, oh, we took the family to Chuck E. Cheese and we had such a great time. And someone might, you know, oh, Chuck E. Cheese is a terrible organization who doesn't treat their employees well and they sell crappy food. And, you know, okay, well, all we're trying to do is just be, you know, uplifting and share something positive. So that person thinks they're being, again, some kind of a warrior by helping you understand that your post was stupid. So, but we go back to empathy. To have empathy is, again, it's not at all what most people are going to think on you know, society speaking, right? Social convention. Empathy can be silent. Empathy can be stoic. You don't have to have extreme bleeding heart emotions in order to have empathy. Empathy should actually be action, not just sitting down and inaction. And posting some shit is not action. No. Empathy is actually getting, participating, getting involved. So like if you have a friend, let's simple situation, a friend or a neighbor, they tell you, oh, I've been diagnosed with cancer. So if you actually go home and pray for that person, now you're doing something. That's a healthy empathy. If you start a GoFundMe to help that person pay their bills, now you're actually doing that's empathy in action. Now imagine if you just went home and just cried and were sad. Oh, I can't believe that Joan has cancer. Oh, did you do anybody any good? No, none whatsoever. So that's got nothing to do with empathy. And it's something else entirely. Is really going to be more about being lazy, but looking for some kind of credit somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's also like, the people who talk about how much they love animals, but they don't have an animal. They don't donate to animal charities. They don't volunteer
Right.
at the Humane Society. They don't foster. It's stuff like that. I actually just saw an example of this morning on TikTok, and it was a woman who was doing those, like, I forget what they're called, but it's where like you choose like names and things that kids want for Christmas that are like less fortunate, and you go buy it for them. And she said it was a minimum of $30 that you could spend. So she spent $30. She was getting ripped to shreds in the comments for the way that she was trying to hit $30, and how she, like, the comments she made about the girl's toys that the girl wanted versus what the boy wanted, and people were ripping her to shreds. And she had mentioned that she liked animals better, and they're like, you should just stick to animals then. Okay, well, if you're going to comment on the way that she's choosing to spend $30 on a child, I hope you also spent $30 or more on a child in the same program. It's like maybe the way that she went about it could have been done a little bit better executed. Who has the right to comment on the way that she did that? Because she had enough empathy to go out there and actually do something and spend money on these kids. I guarantee you 95% of the people in her comments telling her how she should have done it were literally not doing anything. So to me, it's just like, okay, yeah, you can disagree with the way that someone went about something, but destroying them when they're trying is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, it's sadly, people think that they're doing something good, but it's usually very misguided.
Yeah, like how often do you see a random positive comment versus overtly negative ones? And that's the problem, is that the empathy really is lacking. Like, no one was like, I see that you're trying. It was like, you're a pick-me, or they said a bunch of things in the comments. I'm like, I actually feel terrible for this woman. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. It made me want to go do that because I was like, holy shit, at least she's spending $30 on kids she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And so then I was like, maybe I should figure out what charity does that here. You know what I mean? Or remembering to donate instead of just throwing your stuff away or selling it for $5 on Marketplace. There's always things that we could be doing better or different. And just like having enough empathy to understand that is missing. Right.
Yeah. I think that about wraps that one up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a good conversation, good perspective usage and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all of that information.
My pleasure. Thank you.
If you would like more info, please go to our website. The link will be in the description. Have a great day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.